I would have thought that they would have. Look, you can't be fearful of free agency. Like, who's going to pay Blake Bortles $19 million next year? Really, who's your competition? Who's going to go compete for him? And I think what this is a message is, if you want to look at it from Jacksonville's side, they're saying, look, we can't have our starting quarterback as a lame duck.
Really?
I don't.
I mean, Baltimore won a Super Bowl that way.
I know. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying that's the only rationale you can have, because why would you guarantee this guy? Who's your competition to go get him? Who's going to come beat him? Who's going to pay him $19 million? Honestly, who are you competing against? And all you do is assume the liability, because if he comes out one day and he gets hurt, you're on the hook for $19 million, right? You're on the hook for $19 million. And so to me, my sense of it is, let him be a free agent. You're fine. Let him compete for the starting job. Let him go out there and prove he can do it. You've paid him all this money all this time. Why not let him prove something to you? Why do you keep giving to this player? Here's the thing I find fascinating, Rich. How do you sell it to the other guys in your locker room that this guy's your highest paid guy on the team? You think those guys in Jacksonville think he's the best player on the team? You don't have to answer. I'll give you the answer. The answer is no, okay? All right? And then, like, what would you do if you're Aaron Rodgers, if you're Tom Brady, if you're some of these great quarterbacks, and you just read that Blake Bortles got $19 million? He's won 2 road games in his career. He averages under 6.5 per yards per attempt down the field. Please, I mean, come on, tell me, why is this? It makes no sense to me.
And on top of it, just using the conversation piece of, well, you can't have your quarterback a lame duck. It drives folks that I've worked with for the last 14 years in the NFL Network who aren't quarterbacks nuts, that quarterbacks are not held to the same competition standard as every other position player in the National Football League. That running backs, wide receivers, defenders, they all have to fight for their gigs in their walk year. Why not do that to a quarterback? Because they're so sensitive. I mean,
you just basically look. The one thing I know in my over 30 years in the league is that locker room is a business meeting. Okay. They're not reading the sports pages down there. They're reading the financial pages. Mm-hmm. Those guys know numbers down there. And they see that Blake Bortles is making $19 million and he's not the best player. What do you think Allen Robinson's thinking? What do you think he's thinking? What do you think some of those guys on that team are thinking? To me, you send a message to your locker room when you do it. I think it's ridiculous. I would have never done it because there's no upside if you're Jacksonville. There's no upside for it.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.